Who's got next?
The next great one in Houston.
What's coming next?
What do we do next?
And who's gonna take it to the next level?
Next up.
Back to Stan Norfleet and Chris Gordy. This is Next Up on Sports Talk 790.
Welcome back into Sports Talk 790's Next Up. Each weekday, 10 a.m. to noon. Stan Norfleet, me at Stan Sportsman on social. My radio partner to my left, at Chris Gordy. And we go to the phone lines now. We get a special guest drops by, and it's that time of year again. Rockets in action last night in San Antonio. He's editor of USA Today's The Rockets Wire. He's also a part of the Logger Line podcast, talking about Rockets in the NBA here at 790. Ben DuBose representing Missouri. What's going on, Ben? We won't talk about your football team right now. Tough weekend, but we appreciate you coming in here after the Rockets win last night.
Thank you. And, yeah, no Drew Pine commentary necessary, my man.
All right. It looked like the Rockets may drop the rope and not escape San Antonio with a dub, reminiscent of what happened opening night at Toyota Center, surrendering an 18-point lead at one point to the Hornets. Nonetheless, the Rockets hold on. For those that did not see the game, who balled out? Why did they win?
Yeah, Jalen Green, 36 points, nearly 60% shooting, so very good game for him. And it was a little bit of a weird game in that you look at a team that leads by 20 or 22, whatever it was, and then they win by 5, and you think, oh, they must not have executed down the stretch. Actually, that's not what happened. The way the Rockets lost that lead, they were out-rebounded in the second half, 30-19. Maybe there's some conditioning issues. There's also minutes caps on guys like Tari Eason and Steven Adams on that second unit that can potentially help you with rebounding a bit. But the Spurs closed it to a 2-point gap with 8 minutes to go. And the Rockets outscored them from that point forward to get the win, even factoring in a bizarre 6-point possession in the last minute of the game, a crazy play where Chris Paul hit a 3. They ruled that Tari Eason got in his landing space, so he got the and one free throw plus the ball ended up being a 6-point possession, and then Wemby had a dunk as time expired that was meaningless except for the final score. So even adding in those 8 points in the final minutes on just pure shenanigans, the Rockets still out-executed the Spurs over the final 8 minutes of that game. Jalen Green was the lead guy. He wasn't always scoring because most of his points came earlier in the game, so he took what the defense gave him. And Ime Udoka said after the game that was a sign of growth. He didn't predetermine what he was going to do. Instead, the decisive play of the game, after that 6-point possession, when the Spurs had closed it to a 2-point game, 2 defenders trailed Jalen, so he calmly found Fred VanVleet for the dagger 3. And so it was a weird game. The rebounding is something that's been an issue for them when they've lost. It's what bit them against Charlotte last week. But the fact is, after blowing that lead, the fact that Jalen Green sort of calmed them down, they ran their offense, got good shots. Jabari Smith had a big 3 as well. I do think it's a sign of growth, and it's the type of game they closed out this time that they probably wouldn't have last season.
It is interesting. Yeah, I mean, they played the Spurs back to back, and there was a little bad blood there, right? Like, what did you make of?
Oh yeah,
there were some words being had and all this. It's interesting. They're going to play them a third time here real soon, and then you won't see them again, but one more time the rest of the entire season. But I don't know, man. It just feels like this is one where you're better than the Spurs. You should have won both, but I'll take the split.
Yeah, and I think that game last night was a big mental health win because the schedule for the next week is going to be more difficult. You've got the Mavs, you've got the Warriors, you've got the Knicks. 2-2 feels a little underwhelming. You probably should be 3-1, but you'll take it. If you had been 1-3 going into a difficult stretch, that would have felt really, really bad. So I think it was big for mental health. And yeah, I like the fact that the Rockets responded because the backstory to the extracurricular, Jeremy Sohan, who did play well last night, let's give him credit, but before these 2 games at his shoot-around on Saturday, he said, bleep Houston. And so that got out to Rockets players. They struggled against...
that SOB.
Yeah. And so they struggled a lot of Saturday. I know it was night 2 of a road back-to-back, but still, it was an underwhelming night. They did almost rescue it late, couldn't quite get there. And so they're 1-2. They feel like they should have been 2-1 or 3-0. And the Rockets came out with a purpose last night. And they got up, 20 points in the first half. Jalen Green was outstanding. And then when they closed the deal late, Fred doing what a veteran does with that dagger shot, then he got in Sohan's face once the clock got to 0. And so I think that's what you want to see from Fred. Your veterans are the enforcer types. That's why they're there. We know what Dylan does. Fred can do it at times as well. And, yeah, it's going to be very interesting when the Spurs come to Toyota Center next Wednesday, the 6th. Yeah, I think Jeremy Sohan may have a little bit of a reception waiting for him.
All right, that is the voice of Ben DuBose. He's a Rockets analyst for us here at 790. Also does great work, USA Today's The Rockets Wire and the Logger Line Pod, which you can see at Sports 790 and here at sports790.com. I saw Steven Adams on the floor. What did I see? 14 minutes from him, plus 11 coming off the bench. Steven Adams' name obviously came up last year, the acquisition, the trade there. When he's right, we know he's coming off of a calf, I believe. When he's right,
yep.
I guess he'll play more than 14 minutes. What can we expect? What have you seen from Steven Adams thus far?
Yeah, he looked very good last night. Beyond the obvious benefits of having a big guy near the rim that provides a presence, can help you rebound, his screens offensively are crazy. I think he entered the game, and within 30 seconds, he set this screen that freed up Jalen Green like maybe he's never been freed up in his entire career, and he went straight to the rim for an emphatic dunk. So those guards really like playing with Steven for that reason. He's so big and his screens are so textbook that he can help them get going as well. And I do think that, one of the storylines to watch early in this season, Alperen Sengun has not been the guy he was for most of last season yet. There's no reason to panic. It's 4 games in, but I do think that they're trying to play at a faster pace, not always successful at that, but trying to. And so I think integrating someone like Sengun, who played more of a half-court style last year, it's a little difficult. He looks a little tentative, indecisive at times. And so I think he's eventually going to figure it out. But in the meantime, while he's struggling a little bit, he got into foul trouble last night against Wemby, and that's going to happen when you're going up against a really good big man, that having a second guy that you can trust in the middle, that really, really helps them. No offense to Jacques Landale, but Steven Adams is just in a different class. So I think it provides them a little bit of insurance when Sengun is struggling, which he has early in this year, sort of getting used to a new system, because by and large, he only played 2.5 weeks after the All-Star break last year before getting hurt. So that's all the experience he had in this offense they're trying to run now. So Steven provides them some insurance. And then, I mentioned the rebounding earlier. That's been the bugaboo for them. When they have struggled this season against the Hornets and when they almost let that game last night slip away, it's because in the second half, they've really struggled to get those boards and they've been sort of outworked. Steven Adams doesn't get outworked. He is a machine. He is a force around the rim. And so as he gets scaled up and can play more minutes, last night you mentioned he was capped at about 14, 15. I think he can eventually get to 20 or so. That having another body to help you with rebounding can sort of mitigate those concerns that you saw in the second half of last night's game and certainly the opener against the Hornets.
Talk with our buddy Ben DuBose. Ben, through 4 games, your leading scorer in every game was Jalen Green. He's 7th in the league in scoring. Is it officially Jalen Green season?
It feels that way. I mentioned last night that it was the way they are running the offense feels very similar to what we saw in March. He's just picked up right where he left off. And I know some people over the offseason said, he wasn't that good in April. You can throw out those April games. Those were meaningless for the most part. March was the last time they played meaningful basketball. It was Jalen Green's team, and it feels like he picked up right where he left off. And if anything, he might be a little bit better on the defensive end. But offensively, yeah, the scoring is there. The three-point shooting is there. Another thing that I like, he's picked up his free throw attempts. He was at about 4 last year, which was a regression from his second season. Now he's up to 6 free throw attempts as well per game. So that tells you that he's driving into the paint. He just looks much more calm. And that's what we heard from Ime Udoka post-game. I thought Ime hit the nail right on the head, that Jalen is taking what the defense gives him. And so in terms of when to pass, when to be aggressive, I think a lot of times in the past, you would see Jalen predetermine what he was going to do in a late game situation in terms of if he get a score, if he's looking for somebody else. We saw the opener in San Antonio had some big drives to the rim. Last night, the 2 defenders went with him when Fred set that pick. So he kicked it to Fred up top, and Fred hit the dagger 3. It's all about not predetermining what you're going to do. And so in general, it just looks like a much more calm, a much more mature Jalen Green, We saw it late last season, and it's carried over thus far to the start of this new season.
All right, Ben, quickly, we'll get you out of here on this one. No action until Thursday, where the Rockets go from San Antonio, make their way over to Dallas. Not sure if they're coming back to Houston prior to going to Dallas. However, the Mavericks are next up on the schedule. So we got Texans at Jets Thursday night, Halloween evening, and then we also have Rockets at Dallas, which I think you would agree this is the best opponent the Rockets will have faced thus far. It'll be their 5th game, but their 3rd opponent, given they played the Spurs twice Saturday and Monday. Dallas, is this a good barometer to find out what the 24-25 Rockets are going to look like?
I think so. And it's going to be an interesting test for Alperen Sengun because Derek Lively is a good young big man, but he's not nearly as long as Wemby. So some of the shots near the rim that LP was a little tentative and reluctant to take against the Spurs, I don't think Lively creates quite the same mismatch. But yeah, it's going to be incumbent upon Sengun to step up in a way that he hasn't so far this season. Because one thing you know about the Mavs with Luka and Kyrie and the shooting, they're going to put up points. And as good as Jalen Green is, it can't be just Jalen against a team that good. He's got to have help. Rockets have a lot of good defenders. You look up and down the roster, guys like Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, Jabari Smith. They don't have a lot of top-shelf scorers. When you look at who's going to do the heavy lifting there, it's largely Jalen and Sengun. Jalen has lived up to the hype on his end. He needs All-P to start, providing more help. I think Thursday against Derek Lively would be a heck of a good place to start.
All right, that's our guy, Ben DuBose, Rockets analyst, editor for USA Today's The Rockets Wire, also contributes to the Log and Line podcast. You can hear right here at 790. Follow him on social for all Rockets content at Ben DuBose. Ben, we got to run, brother. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care. All right, let's come back on the other side. We'll get back into this Texans-Giants preview. Rockets in action Thursday night at American Airlines Center there in downtown Dallas in the Victory Park area. Over at MetLife Stadium in Jersey, you get Texans-Jets. How do they do this? What are we feeling early? Short week. We're all on pins and needles waiting to hear what we believe to be bad news. We'll see how optimistic we are if indeed Steph Diggs does not go for the Texans on Thursday. This is Next Up with a half an hour to go. Sports Talk 790.